A lot of people think that discipline is about doing something that you hate for a long period of time.
Yeah.
and it's not fun and it's not really conducive to your growth. What you're doing is you're doing something uncomfortable for a long period of time. So here's one way to look at discipline from another angle is to find your non-negotiable. And your non-negotiable might not even be physical fitness, but you understand that for me, my non-negotiable and my...
Welcome to the Fountain of Vitality podcast. I'm your host, LaMont Leavitt. In a world overflowing with noise, confusion, and distraction, we're here to cut through the clutter and explore bold, unique paths to a longer, healthier, and more vibrant life. Through candid conversations with business leaders, wellness experts, industry pioneers, and innovators, we'll uncover insights to help you discover your own personalized, unique approach to thriving. Tune in, trust the compass of wisdom within, and find your fountain of vitality. Hello, my name is LaMont Leavitt, and welcome to the Fountain of Vitality podcast. We're thrilled today to have with us JD Tremblay. He's the Director of Performance at the Hungry Warrior Academy. And we're thrilled to have you with us today. JD, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me on the show.
Well, tell us a little bit about how you got to where you're at today. You're also obviously a certified naturopath as well. So it's not just someone who's out working hard, but you've got some skills there as well. Share with us, if you would, kind of how you got into this.
Yeah, for sure. I really wanted to get into the healthcare system and understand more of the human body. And I grew up in a household that did not foster a healthy environment. My parents got divorced as a young child. And when I got to 17, I was just a kid, I joined the military. And so I learned all the bad ways to complete a mission. And during the military, a lot of it had to do with my own personal journey and learning how to create structure, and that the military was not necessarily a place that I would learn discipline. I would learn structure and systems to achieve discipline. So after over a decade with the military, I went to get an engineering degree at the University of Western, which encompassed all the field into one, and a specialization in biomedical courses. So after university, I wanted to really test all of these math and systems that I just was told by everybody that I would never see any of it again, and that whatever you're learning in school is not really useful. But I wanted to see the practical side of it. So I went to an institute to become a certified naturopath, and I studied the human anatomy and nutrition for years, and I still use it in my daily life because I'm also an ultra triathlete. And as an ultra triathlete, I'm one of 3 people in the world that completed the Epic Deca. And so the Epic Deca is 10 Ironman in 10 days on all 6 Hawaiian islands.
Wow. What's that like, JD? That's the first time I've actually heard of this event. Tell me more about it. That's interesting.
Yeah, it was created by an organization called Epic 5, which they do 5 Ironman, 5 Island, 5 days, created by Rich Roll and one of his friends. And for their 10-year anniversary, they invited 10 people. 6 people showed up on the start line, and 3 people completed the Epic Deca. So an Ironman is a triathlon, which is the sport where you swim, bike, and then you run. Sure. And then an Ironman is the distance within a triathlon. And so one Ironman is 140.6 mile of swimming, biking, and running, and that's 1. So you time that by 10, which is 1,406 miles of swimming, biking, and running over all of the island. And then you're hopping in from one island to the next. And so
Wow.
really nutrition needs to be at the top, recovery needs to be at the top. You need to really understand all of your systems. And the guys that finished were in, I was the youngest that finished the race. And I did it with 4 years ago, so 36, and I was the youngest that finished it. So not too young, but I'm still, again, pushing 40 this coming month, and I'm still competing at the highest level against the best in the world. So I enjoy it, and I get to live.
Well, that's crazy. So tell me about nutritionally how you weather that storm, and what kind of food you eat before, during, and after.
Well, I used an acronym that now we use at the Hungry Warrior Academy that is called BRAIN. And so B is for blood chemistry, R is recovery, A is for attention, I is for inflammation, and then N is for nervous system. So I understood all of these categories, and they had to be broken down into all of each separate box had to be somewhat analyzed to the highest degrees and calculated accurately to get the best result. For example, the blood chemistry, you have glucose swings, you have hydration. So a lot of people would think that because your urine is clear, you are necessarily hydrated, which is not true, because you might have kidney failures. You might also have your cells not be taking in the water, but yet they're just going through your system, which is not a kidney failure. It's a cellular failure. You have electrolytes also. So all of this needed to be calculated. And then the inflammation as well was taken into consideration. For example, I was using a vegan diet, again, just for that particular period of my life. And because I understood that a lot of that food would not sit very long in my digestive system. So I'm not recommending a specific diet. I think diets are quite restrictive and not helping people. The way I would frame it is eat for a purpose. So if you are the type of person who is getting at an older age, you understand the body as his metabolism is slowing down, but yet you still want to compete and you're lifting a car. And you see all of these guys, they're still older and they're lifting a car. And I'm not into that for sure. I'm into more of an endurance athlete. So I would gear my food intake more towards, say, lifting cars versus and it doesn't have to be that extreme into lifting cars or swimming and biking and running countries. You can adjust it to your level of fitness. But yeah.
So now you're based out of Canada. That's where you're from, right?
That's right.
So when it's cold, I mean, how do you stay active and deal with the cold in Canada while you're trying to keep yourself in shape? Or do you go somewhere else during the cold months?
Oh, that's a great question. I would say that if you have the right equipment, the right training, and the right person that follows you and gives you all of the advice to train, whether it's a coach or in my case, I'm a therapist. So if you have the right person that follows you and to give you these advice, if you have the right tools, and if you have the right training to use all of these tools, then you can get to enjoy all of the winter months. And I would say there's a lot of guys that, for me, I go hike. in the winter months, I go hike. That's how I train for the Epic Deca. For the Epic Deca, I built a harness with some ropes and some carabiners that I would attach to a sled. I would put my son in the sled, put my snowshoes on, and then it's minus 30 degree. And then Fahrenheit to Celsius at this temperature, it somewhat equals out to pretty much being the same. So I would climb mountains with my son in the sled and my snowshoes, and I would have the right gear, the right training, and then my coach would approve of it.
Well, how do you keep your son warm? I mean, because he's just sitting in the sled where you're actively moving. You just got to bundle him up real good.
Yeah, he has to learn how to have the best equipment, and children generally love to go and play outside, and they're not going to enjoy it. I can tell you, my son wanted to play video games, and at my house, there's no video games. So, but he was seeing all the other friends and all the other people playing video games, and I would tell him, no, we're going outside, we're going in the mountains. And so he would yell and scream, but I would say, all right, we're going. And he would just go and pick up a stick. It's like natural for kids. He would pick up a stick and start playing with it and fighting against like trees and snowballs. And we would climb the mountain together. So it gets cold, I understand. But again, if you have the right equipment, there's very little that you can't take. I mean, we're talking within reason. If you are in a tornado or in an extreme storm, I would still stay inside.
Right. Wow. Well, that's cool. The way to involve your son too, I think he's better off doing those kind of things with you outside. Back in the day when I grew up, we didn't have all the video games and the digital screens to keep us sedentarily occupied. Being outdoors and being active is good for kids and adults for that matter. So that's great.
Exactly. Yeah. And you get to secrete some oxytocin by spending time with other individuals that share these types of activities. And it's good for the next generation. I did not enjoy it when I was a kid. I wanted to play video games. And my dad was telling me, no, we can't play video games. Those are evil. And I did not know that we were not able financially. My dad was not able to provide us with video games, just like our friends. We did not grow up with lots of luxury. So such as video games. So I was outside playing and I enjoyed myself. I wanted to be playing video games, but my dad had other plans and it turned out to be this amazing blessing. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. Well, tell me about some of the people you've helped, some anecdotal stories, either through being a naturopath or through your Hungry Warriors Academy.
For sure. As a naturopath, we've helped a lot of people with conditions that was plaguing them for years. And we've helped them, suggested them with some certain types of supplements, and then helped them with their conditions. And then with the Hungry Warrior Academy, we've had a couple of people come through. Last year was the big one where a person came in and lost over 28 pounds in a 2-week program, and everything was healthy. He lost weight, and his mindset had a complete shift and turnaround, where now he's able to, again, have a healthier weight, and he's able to now make decisions that in his life he wouldn't have been able to make them at the time. So again, it's not just in terms of health, it's more in terms of being able to function in society in the way that you're able to be at your peak performance.
Great. So at the academy, what kinds of people sign up for it? Are they typically men or women, or is it a certain demographic demographic or age groups that are different, or what have you found?
Right now, we've had executives, elite athletes that went through our academy, and it is only men at the academy, and that's because our retreats. I'm not married yet, but I would, or anymore, I would say. But I would have a difficulty telling my future wife that I'm going in the woods with a bunch of women to do a retreat. So that's why we only cater to men at the moment.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay. Well, that sounds awesome. Well, anything else you'd like to share with us as far as things that you've learned and kind of what you want to be doing next, the next 10 or 20 years of your journey, adventure in life?
We are right now having a philanthropic ways to provide for children. And so that's where the company is heading a bit more, because now we're doing very well. So we're enjoying ourselves, and where the company in business, what we have coming up is we have speaking engagements, like a big conference coming up in California at the end of October. And then we also have a cohort starting very soon in the next month. And it's led by one of our coach, and he is a former Navy SEAL, served for over 10 years in the teams. And so he's going to be the person leading these men to reach another mindset. So again, it's not just about living a long life. It's about living the life that you want to achieve.
That's awesome. How do you help people that maybe they go to make a shift and they struggle with, and it is mindset. You're right, to actually go about making a change. When people slip, how do you help people stay focused? And I know they've got to manage it internally, but what are some tips you might give to someone who's wanting to make a mindset shift?
To make a mindset shift in terms of maybe like some form of addiction, or like a food addiction, or
anything. Yeah, whether it be just exercising more frequently, regularly, maybe dropping, whether it be things that aren't good for you, whether it's alcohol or drugs or whatever. What are some recommendations you can give to someone that wants to change and wants to be at their highest performance level?
Okay, well, we're talking about the beginning and the start. It would be based on our Deca system. So definitely the start with D is discipline. Now, the word is misused all over the place, because a lot of people think that discipline is about doing something that you hate for a long period of time. And it's not fun, and it's not really conducive to your growth. What you're doing is you're doing something uncomfortable for a long period of time. So here's one way to look at discipline from another angle, is to find your non-negotiable. And your non-negotiable might not even be physical fitness, but you understand that for me, my non-negotiable in my 24-hour span, there is something that is going to be about fitness. And that's just because that's the way I was built. I really enjoy it. Now, if I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, or 2 in the afternoon, and I sleep in, you understand that while I'm awake in that period, there is going to be some form of workout. And so that's my non-negotiable. I'm enjoying it. And while I'm doing it, I'm building a certain form of discipline. So I'm enjoying discipline now, which is completely different than the approach that other people might frame discipline, where you have to wake up at 4 o'clock, or you have to get a cold shower, or you have to get and then you just focus on that one item, just that one thing. And it might be for that person, it's cooking or reading. And so they're building the discipline that they want based on something that they really enjoy. And what they'll discover is just because that one mindset shift that they have about discipline, and building that non-negotiable, which they're enjoying discipline now, will now trickle to other parts of
Makes sense.
their life, and then build discipline in other parts.
So the key really is to see the word discipline as a positive, not a negative restriction.
It would be to find that non-negotiable that is easy for you, which for some people it's walking. You go for a walk,
Yeah.
and it might not seem like much, but because you build that non-negotiable that you enjoy, then it goes to other parts of your life. So finding that non-negotiable that is enjoyable is building that discipline that you enjoy, not just seeing the word differently.
Yeah. So that makes sense. And then you keep adding more and more things you can discipline yourself to do appropriately. But you start with easy stuff that you
start with, well, it's easy for you, right? Like for me, cooking and doing all these things. I enjoy cooking. I'm French, so of course I enjoy cooking. But it's not going to be my non-negotiable. I cook. I clean sometimes. I enjoy these tasks, but they're not going to be part of my non-negotiable each day. And to some people, it's cooking. They're building that discipline. They're just seeing another person thinking, well, that person's going every day running. They must be disciplined. No, I'm not a disciplined person. I just follow that structure, which I enjoy. I'm enjoying working out.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah. It's going to be painful, but I enjoy it. And to some people, they need to see the word discipline from a different angle by enjoying what they're doing, which is building that discipline with that non-negotiable.
I'd love to know your thoughts on working out, where it's only a matter of time where an athlete or even a non-athlete gets injured, whether it's a knee, an ankle, or back or shoulder. When you have a physical injury that holds you back and you love to work out, how do you adapt your workout routines to an injury to where you're still moving forward physically?
There are okay, so we must understand the injury. Definitely, if this is something that is going to completely stop you, you cannot move, then you must rest. Okay, we must understand the difference, and most athletes are able to understand the difference between an injury and pain. Yeah. A lot of people confuse it. You will be in pain. If you are an athlete and you're trying to push the limits, if you go for a walk, sometimes you get older and all your body is hurting. That's just pain. That's normal. And then eventually, as you keep walking, it gets easier and then you get some momentum. But if the question is framed in terms of an injury, there are some low impact sports that's why I like triathlon, is because if my leg is hurt, I can still swim. If all of a sudden my back is hurting, I can still go for water treatments where I'm running, but in the water. And then there are other parts where if my arms are hurting, well, I'm going for a run. So that's why I enjoy that. And there's always certain forms of cross training. And I would say that that's where a lot of athletes are missing, or anyone for that matter, is thinking that they're not an athlete or they're not able to compete or they're hurt. It's those little workouts daily that build to achieving greater heights. So going for a walk is a great workout. A lot of athletes. I trained with Kenyans last year, where I flew to Eton, trained with the best in the world, and I started running with them. And the idea here is that they run. Okay, there's still fast runners, but not all of their run is extremely fast. What they do is they run slow, and then eventually that slow becomes their faster, but it's still slow for them. And so you're just becoming much better at taking in all of that pain. So I would say zone 1 training is definitely something that a lot of athletes are not doing. They just want the numbers. They just want to become faster. They think that high performance is about always being on the go, when really you have to slow down and you have to recover.
So for those that don't know, our listeners, what is zone 1 training?
Oh, yeah. Zone 1 training is based on your heart rate. And so to give you just the basic concept of it, you should be able to still be talking, having a fluent conversation. Like right now, I could be working out and still being able to focus on this podcast and training at the same time. That's zone 1 training. So that would be a type of training where I am for a non-athlete, it would be walking. For an athlete, it would be somewhat of a tiny jog. Not running that fast, being able to talk, not breathing heavy. You're just enjoying yourself. And so if you do these types of training for a long time, you're just building up the body for more endurance. So that's what I would have to say about injury and someone that has one.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Swimming is a great one too. If you've had a recent knee surgery or ankle, leg, swimming is so great to get that aerobic going, and without that pounding that you would get on a run.
Yeah.
So that's very good advice.
Yeah.
And then also the bikes too. Just a stationary bike too is good to break in. Bad knee or whatever.
It's the part where it becomes a lot more expensive. But if you have the money, then cycling on a trainer is definitely something that I would recommend for everyone. If you have the money, or if your wife loves it, or.
Well, this has been really fascinating. Thank you for your time today. If JD, if people want to get a hold of you or the academy. Can you give us some websites and URLs that people can reach out to you?
Our website is hungrywarrioracademy.com.
Great. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time today, JD, and good luck on your next adventures and all the different kinds of runs, and not just triathlons. It sounds like you've been involved with some great, epic runs as well. So good luck on your adventures and your future
Thank you.
runs, and keep it in shape. Thanks again for your time today. Thank you for tuning in to the Fountain of Vitality podcast. Head to fountainofvitality.com for more episodes, insights, and resources. Remember, your health is yours to own. Take charge, focus on what you can control, and keep exploring what works for you. Always be your best self. Lift others, and trust the compass of wisdom. Until next time, stay vibrant and take care.